Hello there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. My name is Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10 list, or some other board game related topic, whatever happens to be on my mind. Well, I've been traveling a lot, so I've been thinking about lots of games that I should talk about, and I did so many top 10 lists and top 100s and stuff at the end of last year. I'm still kind of catching up on some of those. And so today I'm going to talk about a game that came out toward the end of last year, although I played it at Dice Tower Retreat. It's an expansion, a revisiting of a game that I like a lot, that I've played many times, and that game is Unmatched Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, Unmatched Adventures is a re-implementation of another game that I really enjoy called Unmatched. Unmatched is a game where you'll take a hero, or a character, not always a hero, a character from some sort of place and bring them up against another character. And these characters can be, there's so many of them now. There are 50 of them, more than 50 characters, I think. If you have them all, I'm trying to think. I've got 4 boxes upstairs, 4 boxes of 12, that's 48. And I've got the Turtles, I've got Muhammad Ali, I've got the T-Rex. So that's probably, and then 4 more. So there's more than 50 characters. There's probably 60 characters. And they're all different, right? The first ones were Alice in Wonderland, Alice Out of Wonderland, I guess, and Sinbad the Sailor, King Arthur, and Medusa. Then they added Bigfoot. They eventually added some Marvel characters. They added Dracula and the Invisible Man. And then they did a first cooperative set called Unmatched Adventures, Tales to Amaze. And that one was you were taking any of the characters that previously existed, as well as 4 more that came in the box, and putting them up against one of 2 big bads. There was a Mothman and a Martian invader. Now, Unmatched Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a spin on that same cooperative system. You're going to take any of the heroes, and the game comes with 4 heroes, and I'll tell you, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so the heroes are a fairly predictable set. And you're going up against 2 villains, and again, the villains are probably easy to predict if you have any familiarity with the characters and the universe of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So you're doing that. You're going to go cooperatively against one of 2 villains. And you can also use it as an expansion for Unmatched, which gives you 6 new playable characters, the 4 heroes and the 2 villains. So that's kind of what it's about. You're trying to beat the villains. And I'm going to talk about it mostly from the cooperative perspective, but I'll also talk about the game as an addition to Unmatched as well. So how does it work? Well, the game comes with 2 scenarios, one for each villain. So this here is the Technodrome, and this is when you're going to be fighting against Krang. And you're going to set up the game, and there's this turn order deck over here. So each player has a player number, so player 2, for example. And then the villain has a card in here, and then the villain has a number of sidekicks, and this is 4 sidekicks, so it's a 4-player game, and they each have a card in here. And you're going to flip up a card, and if it's a hero, you're going to do a hero turn. And the hero turn works exactly the same as in regular Unmatched. You're going to do 2 actions. That can be draw a card and move. It can be play what's called Scheme, which is a yellow sort of instant card that has a powerful effect usually. Or it can be attacking. And if you're attacking, you have to be in range. And that's what all these colored circles mean. If you're a ranged character, you can hit anybody that's on a color that matches the color that you're on. So, for example, from this space, you could hit any blue, purple, or orange space on the board. If you're a melee character, you just have to be adjacent to the person, meaning connected by a line. Combat is done through cards. The attacker is going to reveal a card. Now, because you're only going to be attacking the villains here, what you're going to do is reveal the card you're going to use to attack, and then you'll draw a card from the villain deck, and the villain deck will give whatever defense it's going to do. You're going to resolve effects, and then you're going to subtract the defense number from the attack number, and that's how much damage the defender will take. And you're going to do 2 actions, and then your turn's over. Now, then you'll flip up a new card, And maybe it's a villain turn. It could be one of the minions or the main character, Krang in this case, the main villain. But when they take a turn, they're going to move a certain number of spaces toward the closest character, and then they're going to attack. And attacking works kind of the same way. You flip up a card, and well, first you'll decide if you're going to play a defensive card. They'll flip an attacking card. You'll resolve effects, subtract your damage, and take the damage. And that's kind of how a turn works. Turns are really fast in this game. It doesn't, I mean, the villains are very simple. Now, Krang, each villain has their own specific mechanisms. Krang's going to be setting traps and rolling this die to sort of boost his effects. Each hero has their own different effects as well. They're going to be doing a variety of different things. They've got unique decks, plus unique special abilities. And ultimately, the heroes are trying to take down the villain's life, and the villain is trying to exhaust all of the heroes. And whoever wins in their objective first is going to win the game. So that's really it. Now, the other side of the board is if you wanted to play against Shredder, there's another side of the board, and it's New York, and you're spreading out these foot soldiers, and Shredder's trying to take control of certain areas of New York, and he can win that way. Or, he can win by knocking you out. And similarly, Krang has a track that he's going to be going through that's eventually going to accelerate him to a victory condition as well. But ultimately, that's how the game works. You're going to flip a card, see whose turn it is. If it's a hero, you're going to decide what you want to do. You do two things. If it's a villain, it's move a certain number of spaces and then attack. Or, sometimes there's some other cards that can come in there, but you're going to do that back and forth until someone wins. Now, that may not sound like very much. It sounds very simple when you describe it, and when we're talking about what makes the game so special, part of it is the game's simplicity. This is just, the turns, so many times, I play a lot of solo games, I'll tell you, and so many times the solo games have you spending, 90% of the time running some sort of solo opponent. And especially if there's ever movement involved, there's often a complicated tree of if you can get here, then go here. Pick the first of these 5 things you can do. Did I check for this? No. Yes. Did I check for this? Yes. Did I check for this? Yes. Okay. None of that works. Well, we'll do this. And while that works, right, you can have a solo experience. You find that in games like that, sometimes you're playing the other player's turn, the sort of simulated opponent's turn, a whole lot more than you are your own. Whereas playing your own turn is more fun. So I find that one thing that works really well in the Unmatched Adventures series, and in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in particular, is the opponent turns are incredibly simple. There's not a whole lot of, what can I do here? And if there are ties, you can just resolve them however you like. And it makes the game very smooth. Another thing that's special here is this game, it has fun characters. Now I grew up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't have quite the same love for them that I do for He-Man, and if anyone's watching this, a He-Man Unmatched would be amazing. But still, I did watch them as a young person, and I do have some love for them. I have fond memories of going to see the movies, which are probably objectively terrible if you watch them today. But for me as a kid, my grandmother took me to those, and I just have a lot of memories associated with them. And so the characters are fun. They've got all the characters that you'd really expect to see, or at least most of them. All of the kind of support cast or sidekick characters. So each hero has a sidekick that's going to do something with them, and the villain has all the kind of main baddies that you would expect to see. Well, maybe not everybody, but most of them are going to be here. So, it's a bunch of fun characters. And I'll tell you another thing that works really well in this game, even better than in the first Tales to Amaze, is the theme here really works well. This game is clearly the product of someone who really enjoys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it feels like somebody went out of their way not to just slap an IP onto an existing system, which could be tempting, but rather to go through and design characters that that have their own flavor from the characters in this TV show and the cartoon that everybody, well, that people know. There's just, it feels like it was done with a lot of love. There are touches of humor, and there's a little bit of humor in the show. There's a dumb point, but, the various lyrics from the theme song show up in the various characters' decks. Krang has a weird mechanism where he likes to make speeches, and so if the text on his cards has more letters than somebody else's, he's going to have a boost. Shredder is sort of able to revive Bebop and Rocksteady and get them back to work. It's just dumb stuff like that just kind of makes you feel like you're watching an episode of the old cartoon, and I think that's delightful. So the theming here is really strong. But also, and this is a strength of both this and the other Tales to Amaze, is that all these characters can be ported over into regular Unmatched. You can sit down with this same set and play 2-on-2 head-to-head Unmatched. You can play 3-on-3, 1-on-1-on-1, or 4-player Unmatched if you want, and I have. But I'll say this is a game that works best if you're playing competitively as a 2-player game. But you can take any of the heroes against each other, and they also made decks that you can acquire for the 2 villains, so you can play with them too. And if you just want Unmatched and don't care about the cooperation, it's a great expansion for you because it's 6 new characters, which is a lot. So the rules are very simple here too. I said the solo player is easy to run, but the sort of core game is very simple. It's do 2 actions. Now, I'll tell you, I've taught this game so many times, and there's some things that people have trouble remembering. You can discard a card to boost and move your movement. Everybody forgets that their first time. But that's okay. It's easy things. The rules here are not complicated. Each character will take sort of a spin on the rules, right? They'll have sort of a special power that's going to let them do something different. For example, Donatello in this one, when he moves, he draws 2 cards, and then he can put 1 on the bottom of his deck. And then he has some permanent upgrades he can get at various points. Raphael, he gets an extra action if he loses a combat, so he kind of wants to fake out and then hit somebody with a stronger hit later. There's all the characters do their own thing; they have their own flavor, and yet the core rules here are very simple. This is a game you can teach to just about anyone. And then, because Unmatched exists, another positive of this is that you can take any of the other 54, I'm going to say there's 60 characters. I think that's how many there are, but 54 characters that aren't related to this, and you can move them in. There's a couple that might require a bit of working to make work with the cooperative system. There's nothing that can't be done, but it's some of the characters work a little bit better in head-to-head, but pretty much all of them, though, you can put them in here in some way or other, and without a whole lot of changing. And most of them, I would say probably of the 56 or so, 53 of them can just jump right in as is with no added change, no changes to the rules. So you can fight Shredder with Bloody Mary and Houdini if you would like to. And that's really very fascinating. So you've got fun characters to sort of mix with between the systems, a great theme, easy rules, simple, yet challenging cooperative sort of non-player opponent that you can play with. Works well solo, works well with 2, 3, or 4. It works really well. So where's the but? Well, the only thing I really don't like about this is I wish the turn order were more predictable. It is possible to have the villain go several turns in a row because, of course, you're deciding turn order by flipping a card, and that can be a little unsatisfying when it happens. It can be frustrating is what it can be. Also, it's easy to forget. I'll say that because you're used to sort of playing, I play my turn, you play your turn, and it would be, I've found in some games I run into a pattern of I play my turn, you play your turn, and I play my turn, and I forget to flip the card, or we do, you, me, villain, 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 whatever it happens to be, which isn't what you're supposed to do. Yet that's kind of what feels more natural. So I don't love the turn order system. It works. It's easy, and it keeps things interesting, right? You're like, I sure hope I go early. It does add some nice tension. I just wish maybe that had been a variant. And you can easily house rule that and just split the characters up and figure it out that way. But I like it despite that. It's a small sticking point. And my other one that I have is that, all right, so we've got Tales to Amaze, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we've got 4 cooperative scenarios, 4 bad guys you can fight against, and approximately 60 playable characters to use to fight them. And I think that balance is really quite off. And while the company is doing great at putting out more unmatched characters, they come out with 10 or so a year, probably. I haven't counted, but aside from this, they came out with the 2 Witcher sets. That's 6 characters. Muhammad Ali last year. Tales, sort of the third Tales of Adventure, or whatever the core box set is. I mean, there's a lot of characters they're coming out with each year, yet they're incredibly slow at releasing these cooperative scenarios. I mean, the first one came out, I think, 4 years ago, and now this one has come out last year. It's just the mat. And I understand these scenarios must take longer to design, but I wish they could kind of turn them out a little bit more quickly, at least once a year, because I think the system would really thrive if you had about 10 to 15 opponents, and currently we have 4. So I think that we're a little bit in a lag there. That's another but. But that but is basically I just want more. Also, I will say the first scenario you cannot play with the big bads. They just never released decks for them. The fact that they released decks for Shredder and Krang is a huge point in the Ninja Turtles version's favor, because that was always a sticking point, was why not, right? You've got so many other characters, why not just release these 2? But as it is, where do I come down on the game? I love this game, right? I love Unmatched. Unmatched is already a 10 for me. Unmatched Adventures Tales to Amaze was also a 10 for me, with the same caveat that I think we need more characters. And Ninja Turtles, it's also a 10, right? I mean, this is a game, I think this is better objectively than the Tales to Amaze set, especially if you're giving it to a child of the 80s or 90s. But even if, I don't know, the other set had the sort of pulpy folk monster villain type characters, and they were fun too. But I think just the Ninja Turtles takes it just a notch up on theme, and the 6 characters versus 4 is obviously better. I just think this is the best Unmatched set. It might be the best Unmatched set that there is. I don't know. Goblin Fog's good, and the what is it? Heroes of Legend Volume 3 is really good. They're all really good, but anyway, it's a 10 out of 10. I will tell you that last year, Unmatched was my second most played game. Summoner War is my number 1 most played, but I play that all the time. I have, some of my friends from church will come over on a Sunday afternoon, and we'll play this game for hours. I mean, they'll come over at 2 and leave at 10 and have played nothing but Unmatched in between. So I mean, just sort of to give you the idea of how much Unmatched gets played at my house. Now, I don't play every game with them. Sometimes they'll play by themselves. Sometimes I need to do something else. But I play a lot of Unmatched. I love this game. And I think that the Ninja Turtles scenario is a great way to get in. You've got the cooperative, you've got the potential for competitive, you've got it as an expansion to an existing system, or as an entry point to that existing system. I think this is really a tremendous set. It's a good challenge level, and it's fun characters, well done. All around, 10 out of 10. Definitely something you should try. And with that, I'm going to end things. I'm going to wish you safe travels, courage when you need it, and I hope to see you back again next time for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.